Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Continue the Magic. I'm recording this on July 22nd, and we just got some breaking news about the animation courtyard at Hollywood Studios. So I think we've all known that this area has needed some love, and there was especially a lot of controversy around it when the news came out about the Muppets going away and having Monstropolis being put in its place. And really the information here kind of led us to think, why are they putting it over there, over the Muppets courtyard, rather than taking over this large space of land that is the animation courtyard that has been hosting the Star Wars launch bay with a couple of meet and greets, some costumes, some art, not a whole lot over there. So there was a lot of people pretty distraught that that was the way they were going with this. So it is really exciting to see that there was indeed a plan and that the animation courtyard is coming back. So if you saw the short Once Upon a Studio that they did for the 100th anniversary, this was absolutely heartwarming, true to classic Disney form. I don't know if anyone got through that without a tears running down their cheek. So they've kind of leaned into this with this new reimagining of the animation courtyard, which focuses on all of those Disney characters taking over the Disney animation studios and kind of making it their own. So as you may know, this was already a working studio at one point, and they did have a studio tour that went through. So this is actually one of probably the most quoted things in my family of our kind of Disney quotes, which is the film that went along with that guided tour, with Robin Williams being put into a Peter Pan cartoon as an animated character. And it was Robin Williams and Walter Cronkite, and it was this super heartwarming, endearing adventure that kind of took you through all the different stages of Disney animation. And then when it was a working studio, you even got to go through and you could see the artists at work. So when all of that got closed down, and in its place we got Star Wars Launch Bay, which is honestly empty most of the time, except for a few character meet and greets, it was really quite sad to see such a huge plot of land sitting unfulfilled. So I love that they are going right back and leaning into the animation studio. So for those of you who really liked the Sorcerer Mickey hat that was in Hollywood Studios for a while, I was not a fan of the hat. It's not that I had an issue with the hat. I had an issue with the location of the hat, which is that it was blocking the Chinese theater, now Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But it is an iconic look. It ties directly into Fantasmic, which is a Hollywood Studios staple. So they're going with the iconic Burbank Animation Studios look that will have that Sorcerer Mickey hat back. So if you did love having Sorcerer Mickey, that strong representation in Hollywood Studios, it's coming back in what I think is a much more fitting format. So the idea behind this is that you still kind of get to see how animation is done, but in a much more interactive way. So you'll be able to go in there. I'm sure they're going to have kiosks and different experiences where you can kind of take part in part of the animation experience yourself. But rather than it being a guided tour where you can kind of see animators along the way, now you're actually going to be on this adventure with all of the Disney characters. And the image here really reflects that, right? We're seeing all of these different Disney characters over the last century coming together to take over and bring life back to this studio. So as part of this, they're actually finally bringing a play structure back to Hollywood Studios. So I have a lot of really fond memories of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids play set that they used to have when it was still MGM Studios, where you could see the giant ant and the Lego pieces, and you were sliding down, canisters of film. I had a lot of fun there growing up, and having that removed, it kind of lacks a bit of that energy. And they've had Disney Junior over in that area for quite some time. So you're already kind of pulling in the younger audience into that section, but then there was nothing else for them to do there. So they're bringing back in a play area. It's called Drawn to Wonderland, and it's going to have oversized flowers. There's going to be a wooded area you can explore. And there's, of course, going to be a mad tea party. You can't have Alice without a tea party. So I love that they're giving an outlet for all these younger kids to really get their energy out. The reality is Hollywood Studios needs more attractions for younger children. It does have some of those larger rides with height restrictions, so your options are a little bit more limited when you have smaller kids. So I think this is a really good choice for them to go down this route. So during the renovation, they are going to be keeping the new Little Mermaid show and Walt Disney Presents open, so you will still have access to both of those. It does sound like Disney Junior is going to be closing temporarily while they do this renovation. They're closing on September 25th, 2025. So this is happening really fast. So if you want to get some Disney Junior time in, now's your moment, but it will be coming back when they reopen this new area. It'll still be Disney Junior, but they're going to be revamping the show, so it's a little bit more poignant for what they probably have out today. And then this is going to open again in 2026. So this is a really fast turnaround. So I'm almost wondering if they were working on some of this in the back end already. The reality is most of that area hasn't been accessed for quite some time by the general public. So they could have been working on this for quite some time and are just getting closer to that launch date now. So overall, I'm kind of thrilled with this news. I know we're still sad about losing Muppets Courtyard, but it makes a lot more sense now that we have this news coming out. And I really do like that they're kind of going back to that animation Courtyard style and bringing in the ties to Burbank and kind of the foundation of Walt Disney Studios itself. And I've noticed this in general, they seem to be mixing a lot of the super immersive IP stuff with a little bit more kind of nods to how the parks used to be. So bringing back the animation Courtyard, bringing back a test track and having hints to World of Motion in there, and even going back to Moana Journey of Water, which feels a lot more true to Epcot's roots. I see them kind of straddling that, embracing their history and pulling from those ideas, while also, of course, leaning into those big IPs, those billion-dollar movies with multiple sequels. Obviously, that's a big draw, especially for the younger audience. So hopefully they continue to have a nice balance between these two options. And I think this could be a really nice way of looking at that and pulling in characters throughout the Disney history. So just a short update for this week. This was breaking news and I wanted to make sure that we got it out to you. So have a great week and we'll see you next Wednesday.